Welcome to the Pelicans postgame report on the PRO Media Network for all things Pelicans.
Perfect. Fly Pelican, fly Pelican, fly Pelican. And I tell them that birds of a feather flock together. Fly down, I'm a Pelican forever. Pelican forever. Ain't gon' lie, I feel flyer than I ever been. We stay ballin', this New Orleans, I'm a Pelican. It's going down in the nest, wild, wild west. Come in town and you best, show us some respect. 3-point threat, I better make it rain. If it's up, then don't jump stupid like your ankle sprain. Always said, never hate the player, hate the game. Jumper where the dame late, punch a train. Post game, big Q, talking about business. Bird gang, YouTube, they ain't flocking with us. Lock up the division mission, get into the finals. Finish competition, then it's going win the title. I know this flyer than you can get. Such a threat that the ref just might call a tag. You could double, you could press, but you can't check. Right, left, slide by you like a Eurostep. Fly Pelican, fly Pelican, fly Pelican. And I tell them that birds of a feather flock together. Fly down, I'm a Pelican forever. Pelican forever. And never, and never, and never, and never, and never, and never. Say birds of a feather flock together. Yeah, fly die, I'm a Pelican forever.
By Anthony Davis trade to LA in drafting Zion Williamson, number one overall. The team went 209 and 264 with 2 postseason appearances under his leadership. Meanwhile, after the 76ers concluded their disastrous injury-riddled season with a 122.
For all things Pelicans, you're now tuned into the Pelican Postgame Report. Much love to the fam. Appreciate y'all for being in this live, man. And some breaking news has happened as expected. New Orleans Pelicans made a move, but we figured it probably would be the head coach. But no, it's the general manager. They fired David Griffin. And, man, listen, let's give them a round of applause for this one, man. Come on with this one. Hell yeah, man. Get on out of here with that bullshit, man. I mean, at the end of the day, man, it just wasn't enough. Overpromise and underdelivered is a phrase that comes to mind when it deals with David Griffin and his tenure here. A lot of talking, a lot of slick politician speak, and not as much as the results that we indicated that we wanted. And it's good that they finally seen them. And a lot of this, man, I'm going to put it on the support base. The support base was not fooled by this. They stayed on this guy's neck. They stayed on the franchise's neck, and they have been forcing these changes. And this is the big thing that I really appreciate for you guys being in this thing, because boy, oh boy, this was a good one. New Orleans went 209 and 263 under Griffin's leadership, building a strong roster this season, but suffering injuries. Pelicans coach Willie Green remains in place as the franchise hold a full search for the next lead basketball operations executive. Sham says Pelicans have fired Executive Vice President David Griffin. After 6 seasons, the franchise will look for a new basketball man. So yeah, this is a good news right here for a lot of the Pel Nation. And like I said, injuries aside, you failed because under your stewardship, build up your health staff. Build it up. And it's something that they just simply didn't do enough, and it cost them his damn job. Overpromised and underdelivered is the term here. So I'm very happy on this Monday stream. Hope you guys have started your weeks off. It's pretty good here. As Sham is dropping it, we got Big Q, we got DC chiming in as well for this. And this is good news. Good news. And of course, Will Guillory did add that the Pelicans will remain, Willie Green will remain the Pelicans head coach for now. Per league sources, once Pelicans hire a new lead exec, that person will have the say on Green's future. So the Pels get rid of David Griffin. 6 seasons here. This is an article right here as well. So
I think we good as long as we don't hire Monty Williams, bro.
There you go. So that's big, man. No matter how you look at it, DC Pelicans take them down, man. Thoughts on this early, bro? I was surprised by this, man. I figured David Griffin would try to position himself behind Willie Green, but the Pelicans, we stayed on code right to him. You won't be visible. You will get that X, and he got that X on his ass. So what you think about this?
It's probably the best move the Pelicans franchise has ever made because he is undoubtedly the worst GM we've ever had. Although he comes with some bright spots, right?
Hold on, DC. Let me stop you right there. He's the worst they ever had.
He turned our team into pussies, Q. Yes, it's the worst.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
This is the softest version of the Pelicans / Hornets I've ever seen. For that, he's the worst. It's not a. I know Willie Green. We hold him on the hook for the 40, 50-point losses, which he should be, but he didn't do it alone. David Griffin played a hand in that, man. The soft ass culture of celebrating shit that don't need to be celebrated. Although we've had other GMs that made worse roster moves, done just as dumb things with the teams, you can say dumber in some instances. We've never been this weak. When have we ever had a team with this much talent and be this sad? Come on, Q. Our problem was always talent and being cheap, right? Mm-hmm. When we had some players, they would perform. Man, we had the talent and couldn't. Nobody wanted to show up with this dude because they looked at the team. They own the team and they looking at the team like, man, this some pussy shit. Some bullshit. Damn, them dudes ain't taking this serious. He created a culture of losing through the culture because we actually had some decent players. So, yes, the worst GM we ever had, bro.
Okay. All right.
Who else in NBA history had such a huge head start and fucked up this bad, bro?
Dude, he had Zion.
I can't look at it like he wasn't as bad as the others because he fell into an amazing situation.
He had a great situation.
Right. This is the worst GM we ever had.
He screwed all. It ain't like he had a team he had to build up into something. Like we didn't have a star. We didn't have role players. We had talent here. You just had to find the right coach to galvanize them. He kept Elvin Gentry, who was Dale Demp's flunky. Kept him here a year past when that was stupid. Fires him, hires Stan Van Gundy. Stan Van Gundy hadn't coached in years. He was a GM or whatever he was with Detroit. Then he fires him after a year with the stuff with Brandon Ingram. Hires an inexperienced Willie Green to run the team over the last 4 years, and the Pelicans have not been able to take the next step. So, and the weird trades that he had, just all of the stupid talking points, the weak, and you're right on the culture, the stupid garbage, weak ass basketball family rhetoric, that'll happen naturally if you're winning games. They'll combine and come together and play when you're winning games or you're toughing it out in the heat of battle and you're being successful. You can build that kind of culture. But having a bunch of guys here that are cool with each other and they all losing, that does no help for anybody, including us. We don't care about cool losers. We don't care about that. We only care about the product on the court, which is winning. And the Pelicans had more than enough talent to win. If health's a problem, he should have focused and got the health staff correctly done. Because we've been saying this ain't nothing new. We've been saying this for years now. The Pelicans have always had issues in that goddamn health room. And they know it, and we know it, because Dennis Lauscher is the director on the board of Ashna Hospital. He's a director on that hospital system. So he knows full well what's going on with this team in terms of the health situation. And they do nothing but blame it. So enough of that. We're not going for that. Hoffa, thank you, man. Appreciate you for the super chat. Says, thank God. But we keeping Willie. Yes, according to reports right now, from what we're hearing, is they're saying that the new VP, when he comes in, he'll make a decision on whether or not to keep Willie Green. So thank you for that.
I want to say thank you very much. Picking me up, bringing me back to this world.
Thank you, bro. Appreciate
it. It wouldn't be the Pelicans without one misstep. You know what I'm saying? I don't understand why you don't
Talk
just
about that,
fire.
DC.
Why you don't
Talk
just
about
fire him outright? You just watch Denver do it. It ain't that hard. But that ain't the worst move in the world because if was a fifth, right? If the Pelicans sign a competent vice president of basketball operations or GM, I think the first thing he would do is fire Willie Green. I know if I was the general manager or VP of it, that would be my first move. Like any situation you going into, unless you inherit a championship coach or just like you have a top 5 coach in the NBA. I think any general manager going into that situation, they're probably going to look to move the coach. Because if a GM has gotten fired, it has to get really bad. Or I guess in Denver's circumstance, it's not completely true. So maybe there's a few exceptions to the rule. But generally, it'd have to be pretty bad to fire a GM. So the coach was there for that, and he damn sure didn't help. And then on other news, Mike Budenholzer
Was
also
fired.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was fired 20 minutes ago. So, that's somebody else you put your name in the hat for of getting a coach. It's too many good coaches out there to be trying to hold on to Willie Green. Like, what's the significance of it?
Right. I agree, bro. I think a lot of what we've seen right now, it comes to a point where you just got to pivot and go in a different direction. And it's not like you gave him an opportunity. That man been here for 6 years. Willie Green here for 4 years. So you get what you get, and if you don't get the success that you need, don't sit up here and cry for more work. He wasn't crying for it when he was sneaking around signing secret extensions behind the closed doors. He wasn't crying around when he was dipping behind and not briefing the people with these weird little movements in terms of how they would handle the injury situation. All that stuff was micromanaged by him. That's what I was talking about. His character flaws would not allow him to win here because he is insecure dude. He positions himself with people that's inexperienced. That Bryson Graham guy should have never been a general manager. He should have got somebody here with experience that could help him with roster management, help him with roster construction, help him construct this team with an identity. That's what he should have did. But instead, he hired a guy who didn't know shit. That guy didn't do nothing this entire year. He didn't have one press conference without David Griffin sitting next to him holding his hand. And I don't consider him a general manager because he don't do shit. So it'd be interesting to see exactly if whoever the VP is that comes here, how they handle the situation. Bring a new GM and a new coach. How does this work?
Yeah, Q. He's definitely not going to get to retain the GM position that he just obtained. And actually, it was like he was basically, what you calling people, man? He was an intern for GM. He wasn't really even a real GM, except they actually paid him. He was a paid intern, man. Dude was GM. He's still learning on the job. He ain't even doing interviews. David Griffin then handicapped the man. Basically, he let him be the GM and then don't let him do nothing that GMs do. It's just crazy. But I think I like Bryce as a scout. You looked at our drafting situation. When he's been in the fold, I think he can make some good decisions there. Hopefully, I wouldn't be opposed to him being retained in some type of role with the Pels, but the new vice president of basketball operations or GM is probably not going to be a magician, Q. So I don't know if they into hand puppets and shit. I don't know.
All right.
How they go about that, man. We might have somebody who don't like to do magic tricks and stuff like David Griffin used to do. So,
Yeah, DC, the new
might
VP,
not like having a stinky hand.
He might.
I don't know, bro. Everybody's not into that. You know what I mean?
Right. You damn right. I know what you mean. That's bad look. But anyway, let's do this, man. Let's hit this right here, man. This was released by the Pelicans. It's a statement from what they call the Pelicans governor. They're not owners anymore. They're governors now. Gail Benson. She said, after considerable thought and evaluation, I have decided to relieve David Griffin of his duties as Executive Vice President of Basketball Operations.
What Dennis Law should do? Why Miss Gail got to do all this shit?
Nothing. He does nothing. That's the point. He's supposed to be up here doing this. But it's always, you never hear from him. That dude don't know nothing, man. This was a difficult decision, but one that I feel is necessary at this time to bring a fresh approach to our front office and build a culture that will deliver sustainable success on and off the court. A little shot to him as he leaves. I am committed to hiring the right person to lead our basketball operations department and deliver an NBA championship. That's what I'm talking about, to our city. That is what our fans deserve. I am truly appreciative of David for his leadership and many contributions to the Pelicans organization and the New Orleans community over the last 6 years. We wish David and his wife Meredith and their family all the best moving forward. He'll go back on NBA.com or the network and basically say, well, if I had interest and talk. He was talking before he got the job. While our focus is a championship on the court, this is another statement also from Gail. While our focus is a championship on the court, we are also making sure that we do the same off the court by continuing to do to prioritize the family or the support experience and ensuring our games are easily accessible across our entire Gulf South region on multiple convenient platforms. In addition, we are working to determine the best path forward to transform the Smoothie King Center into the best arena in the NBA. We look forward to delivering these priorities for our supporters. So the bottom line is, man, listen, that's all good. And you want to do something good for us, start winning. Hire the right people and start winning, because the Pelicans have all these talented players. They don't have any identity. The discipline is low. A lot of the stuff we talked about on the end of the regular season stream. So, but this is good news, DC, no matter how you slice it. Now, the options moving forward. Now, of course, we heard the rumor field.
Yeah, see, that's when you kind of get back to reality. When you think about like the options moving forward, and the fact that we had an actual general manager that left here and was dying to get up out of here. Finally got up out of here, left, and went to Detroit. And look at them.
They're in the plan.
We had what we needed in the building already.
They're in the playoffs, huh, DC? Yeah. They're in the plan. They're in the playoffs, not the plan.
They're in the playoffs. Yeah, they've made the playoffs.
Right.
Coming from the worst record in franchise history to the playoffs. Crazy. Some people say this is the biggest turnaround in NBA history. I don't know. They broke a record for losses, so I guess maybe you got a point. Did they have the most losses ever in NBA history?
I don't know. They were pretty bad, man. But that's a huge turnaround, and the main component to the turnaround, DC, was with Trajan Langdon. Went in there,
and I mean, he was just operating like somebody playing 2K, man. You know, people who love basketball, we tend to have good common sense basketball ideas. Trajan Langdon went in there. He got some shooting to put around Cade. He got the coach that he saw that shouldn't have been fired, which was an excellent decision. And Bickerstaff came and got Fred Benson over there as the shooting coach, best shooting coach in the league, and lured him away from us. You know, he just went in and made a series of intelligent moves. Fired Monty Williams immediately. Didn't wait, you know. So moving forward, I mean, we have the rumors of Joe Dumars, so maybe there's some truth to that. And that's a hard one to gauge. Bad Joe will be. My consensus, I think he'll be way better than David Griffin. But, you know, everybody has probably an area they need to work on, and he's not been coaching basketball. I mean, well, in the basketball front office, because he wasn't a coach. He's over there he's working with the NBA as what is his official title, Big Q?
I forgot what he is in the league office, DC. I'm gonna have to look it up, but I know I think he's in the rules department or something like that. I'm gonna have to see what he currently. I remember I looked him up last year just to see what he was doing. And he's in the league. I think he's somewhere in the rules and somewhere in the rules department. I'm gonna have to look it up. While you talking, I'll look it up.
I remember a guy like Jeff Peterson from Brooklyn, the Brooklyn Nets assistant general manager. I remember him being a hot name or something. I don't know where he is. Then you got guys like Elton Brad, who's probably still floating around out there somewhere. Just possible GMs, man. Where's Don Nelson? I know, but that probably didn't go that well. Well, I mean, he was all right with Dallas. Naz Muhammad, did he ever get a GM job? These are all people that wanted to be GMs as of last year from stuff I'm looking up online. Naz Muhammad of the OKC Thunder, the director of team personnel. I think they probably got a lot of people from OKC probably looking for GM jobs. We got Mark Hughes, who's with the Clippers as of last year. Not sure where all of these people are this year. Assistant GM with the Clippers. Mike Zurin, Boston Celtics, VP of basketball operations. That's probably your guy right there, huh, Q?
Could be, bro. I mean, yeah, that's the guy that we need, man. We need to get some of these guys from this, like we talked about the Boston culture.
And look at his strengths.
Yeah.
He's been the guy at the forefront of the analytics department, using a blend of data-driven insight and holistic understanding of the game. Zarin, the Celtics vice president of basketball operations and team council, has risen through the ranks due to his expertise in this area. So they actually have a VP that's separate from the GM, like a functional team over there in Boston. But the big name, and I guess what we pretty much got to focus on, is the man you see on the screen right now.
Yeah, currently Joe Dumars, according to this, he was announced, and this was back in 2022.
Oh, Peterson went to Charlotte. Okay, Stacy. I wasn't sure, man. I gotta up my game on GM research.
But yeah, Joe. It's a couple of guys, man. I know.
Let's hear him talk, bro. Let's hear what Joe's saying. What
talking about Michael Jordan stuff. That's all.
All right, let's hear him talk about Michael Jordan.
Negative word to each other on the court. I respected him. Those years that we beat them, Dan, he'd walk over every single time, shake my hand, and go, "Good luck in the finals, man." And I could see he was devastated with the loss. We beat them, they beat us, and I stopped as we were walking off the court and shook his hand and said, "Good luck in the finals." So I think it was just mutual respect. Listen, I'll say this to you, Dan. There were nights that on the court that he would do something so incredible. That he and I matched up against each other for 14 straight years. In those 14 years, never once did he try to trash talk me, and never once did I try to trash talk him. It was
that's something else.
Toe to toe, nose to nose.
Michael Jordan never trash talk. Something.
He didn't do Joe. He respected the hell out of Joe Dumars, man.
I mean, Joe was tough, man.
Yeah, Joe Dumars was there, and like I said, he did.
This is a nice, polite way to say, yeah, I beat Michael Jordan, and I had to guard him. It's a polite way to say that.
Yeah, but you know how Joe is, man. He ain't gonna be.
He ain't gonna rub it in. Nah. You got class, man. Joe always had
right.
Class.
Joe got class, right? So, but yeah, that's some of the thought process right there, man, to decide on what's the move going forward. But like the rumor mills are pointing at Joe Dumars as the guy, and of course, y'all know Mickey Loomis and Joe Dumars are cool, if that means anything. He was going to be the reason why that happened for Joe Dumars coming to New Orleans originally, and it was shut down.
I have one problem with the whole Benson organization. Why? Not that I'm not really against Joe Dumars. I think he can do a good job. I think there's other candidates out there, other people out there that may push us in a different trajectory, basketball knowledge wise, but as far as a culture fit, I think he's perfect. But why do the Pelicans only, when it comes to stuff like this, they only go to people like that they've known for years, as if, other up and coming people with fresh, innovative ideas don't exist. Like Kellen Moore was almost a total shocker with the Saints because they typically never lean to go that route.
Yeah, they got blasted for that though, DC. That was the whole thing too, bro. They got kind of hammered for that. They got blasted for doing the same thing over and over again. So, they decided to do a different direction. They did a little something different. So, that a lot of people applauded that move for them to do that. So, yeah, that was actually very surprising to see them do that, bro. So we'll see how it bear fruits. But I mean, yeah,
I think it's going to do well. Like the way the game is going, At least with coaches. Young coaches tend to do well.
Yeah.
What is she doing?
Oh, your daughter in there tearing up stuff.
Man, yeah, she walking around the house with pushing a box around.
You should take a picture of that one, bro. Send it to me. That's funny. All right, but yeah, well, go ahead, bro. What you were saying?
But yeah, just the mindset of them never leaning into innovation, I think is what always has been missing from both of our franchises. With everything else, they've been able to check the box in one area or another, maybe not all at the same time, but we never lean into like new ideas, fresh ideas, innovative ideas. We never lean that direction. That's the only negative I have about getting Joe Dumars and one other asterisk. I still can't get over the fact that he passed up on Carmelo, man. Like I like Joe Dumars, but him passing up on Carmelo, man, it's a big one, bro. It's like
that's a layup, bro.
Yeah, what if we got a chance to wave the white flag and then he just pass up on him? Or you get a chance to get Dylan Harper and we go get somebody else.
Right.
That's a possibility.
Nah, man, I don't think that happens, DC. I'm gonna be honest with you, bro. I don't think that's gonna happen with Joe. Whoever it is, hopefully we can bring somebody in here with some good sense, man, to be able to put something together, man. But man,
is he going to try to make us the new Detroit Pistons? Is that what we're going to lean into?
No, I think first and foremost, I think the best thing, the thing he has to figure out is what's the identity of the team. Which is, if you think about it, DC, he's from Louisiana, but the whole thing is understanding the culture of the area that the team plays with. What kind of temperament is that city? It's a blue collar, hardworking city. So which could lean into the mentality of the team. Like you had Detroit. Look at the success Detroit had, DC, when they kind of embraced that.
And that was him. Like it ain't his thing wasn't like David Griffin's thing. Joe put that together. I remember when he signed Chauncey Billups, nobody thought anything of that. You had Chauncey Billups and who was another guy who was popping? Ben Gordon. Ben Gordon hadn't even took off yet, but it's kind of like was held in that light. Nothing major, not a major signing at all. But little did people know, that would lead them to winning a championship. He discovered Ben Wallace. Was Ben Wallace even drafted?
I don't think he was. I think he was undrafted, DC. I think
discovered Ben Wallace, man, one of the best defensive players. I ain't gonna put a position on it, even though he plays center. You've seen him play power forward sometimes too. Just one of the best defensive players the game has ever seen. It was almost like a modern day version of Rodman with less rebounding and more defense. Without Rodman used to be grabbing people that then wasn't doing all that crazy stuff. But 6'7", man, able to shut down Shaq, right? Joe Dumars found that guy. Had the foresight to draft a Tayshaun Prince, my bad. All of these players were influential in them winning a championship. And then they were a really good team, prior to that. And he was like, you know what? What's going to really push us over the edge? Went out and traded for Rasheed Wallace. That took them to the top. And the only reason I think they couldn't win another championship, they needed that young blood in a Carmelo Anthony. If he would have nailed that Carmelo Anthony signing, we probably wouldn't even have a chance to get Joe Dumars. He might very well still be the GM of Detroit Pistons because they would have won at least another championship, in my opinion, if they were able to get Carmelo. Maybe they could have got 2 or 3 more. You never know how that would have played out. Carmelo played 16, 17 years, and he went over to Detroit and he won championships. He probably would have stayed in Detroit. Shit, he didn't want to leave Denver. You let him talk about it and stuff. So the only flaw in what Joe Dumars did, he found a way to win. But all of these guys, other than Tayshaun Prince, they weren't old in terms of age, but basketball age, you would say they were like middle age. They kind of got the whole band together. They were later in their years, so he only had maybe an 8-year run with that roster.
It was something like that, bro.
And they never really found that extra oomph that they need to push them over the top. But you know, they always were like right in the thick of things. And you also have a team that's gonna fight. You know, that's the culture that Joe Dumars built, man. I mean,
Yeah, man.
You know, everybody remember Indiana and the Malice in the Palace. You do remember they were playing Detroit, right? You know what I'm saying? A lot of that get lost in the sauce, bro. We see all the Indiana highlights. They were playing Detroit.
That's
They had a
right.
way of getting under people's skin and frustrating the hell out of them, man. That was their hallmark.
Get you out of your game.
It was almost like a more defensive version of the Kevin Garnett led Boston Celtics. You know, KG probably looked at them, and I would think probably got some of the inspiration of how he trash talked or irritated people, because that's what Detroit did on a nightly basis, man. So it is a lot of positives with Joe Dumars. The only thing that I don't know is what I mentioned first. If Joe can blend his experience, his knowledge, and his ability to be a successful basketball GM into being a VP of basketball operations, and we hire an innovative GM under Joe to kind of fill in those areas where, you know, I'm alluding to him being weak at, like maybe somebody that's a better draft strategist, because he found the right players and he got the right chemistry and mix for a team. But come on, Q, think about the whole Detroit Pistons era in that time. Would you consider them a great drafting team? They passed up on Carmelo for Darko Milicic. You know, the Detroit Pistons, they're a very well-knit group.
You harping on that one, brother.
Because it's the big one. Carmelo is probably, a top 50 player, top 75 player?
Yeah, he definitely.
In NBA history?
I don't know what his
Wait. I knew that, and I was 19. And I could see it. I watched Carmelo, what he did in the final. I said, man, that dude is stuff.
I'm going to have to find Joe.
I say it as a 19-year-old Q. I said, man, Carmelo going to be better than LeBron in the beginning. I saw that. Like, everybody saw that, man. Like, how do you not see that? But that's the one big knock I got on him is drafting. So if we get Joe Dumars, that's why I like the idea of maybe keeping Bryce around in some capacity, because I think he could probably help merge that bridge. Bryce, to me, seems to be a good scout. Some of the players we got, I think we're very talented. Now, I don't know how much he had a hand in their mentality of being good human beings and shit. Maybe if you take those handcuffs off, and we could have got even better players. Maybe we don't draft a Kyra. Well, was he in the room for us drafting Kyra? Because I knew that was we all knew Kyra was going to be a bad pick. We were just hoping it turned out because he was close to home kid, and you want to like him. But I'm like, man, why didn't we just take Maxey? We all wanted Halliburton, which he got picked before. But Maxey was my next pick, not Kyra. Anyway, that's all water under the bridge. Dyson Daniels would have fit what Joe Dumars wanted, though. He probably would have drafted Dice. So,
yeah, he makes the mention. I had to find an interview with him talking about the Darko Milicic.
Man, let's hear what he got to say. Explain this to me, Joe.
I could get a dissertation on that. I really could. Oh, absolutely. I tell you what, from that point on, after I drafted Darko, from that point on, the amount of background we do on every single player that you see us draft is ridiculous. We do as much more background than any other team in the NBA because of that. Because the background on that was
let's look up Detroit's draft picks.
Of what we do now. And so I look back on it now and realize you didn't know half the stuff that you needed to know.
But there's certain questions that you can ask him Tuesday night that you were looking for an answer that would reassure you that you're not walking into another.
It's not so much just him that you ask the questions to, it's the amount of people. With Darko, I may have had 2 sources of information. This kid, 10, 12. And we've talked to I'm literally everybody. George Davis talked to his 6th grade teacher.
That wasn't too long ago. But what I'm saying though is we talked to everything. I mean, like that's what I didn't do with Darko. We may have talked to a couple of guys over in Europe, and that was it. And so from that moment on, I said, you know what, that'll never happen again.
All right, there we go. DC got humming going on, brother.
Nah, I'm sorry, man. Ain't nothing I could do about that.
All right, so it's
I'm trying to mute it when I'm not talking, I guess.
That's all right, brother. But did you hear what he said about that? He said that the Darko Milicic thing was a change.
I do, but it doesn't.
That don't make you feel better?
No, because all you had to do was Carmelo. Man, no, it's not. It's Carmelo fucking Anthony. All you had to do was actually watch him play and watch Darko. There was never any doubt in anybody's mind. It's a classic case of like he's saying he didn't do enough background. To me, it's a classic case of overthinking. And let me rattle off the draft picks from let's see, when Joe Dumars, he was the GM from what point?
We're gonna do that now. We're gonna really do that now. You gonna rattle off this draft pick?
I gotta do it, Q,
go ahead.
because
You got it, bro.
I'm looking at him and I'm like, damn, it might have been a little worse than I thought. You know, the highlight, a lot of these names I'm looking at is like Aaron Aflalo. That's like one of the best ones. Do me a favor. When was Joe Dumars the GM? Because I got the Detroit draft history up here. I think it was from 2000 to 2014. Am I correct? Can you tell me that? And I go over some of these picks. I just name the names.
Hold on, I'll pull it up, bro. Give me a second. I'll see what I can do here.
And you'll see why I'm concerned, Q. And I have a right to be. At first, I'm like, maybe I'm tripping. So I start looking up the names. And when I start telling you these names, it's like, I'll see somebody like Bonzi Wells. I'm like, oh, that's Bonzi. Wait a minute. That was 1998. I don't think Joe Dumars drafted him. You know what I'm saying? Like, just tell me when he the GM. When was he the GM, and I'll go down the list of names.
Okay, Okay, hold on. He served as the president of basketball operations from the Pistons from 2000 to 2014.
Okay,
he won the championship in 2004.
Let me start.
Well, before you go there, let me give you his docket, DC, before you go.
We know he got an impressive resume.
Okay, so let me just go before you hit him with that. Let me just kind of counterbalance it here. All right, so served as the president / general manager of the Pistons for 14 seasons, 2000 to 2014, 14-year tenure, led the team to 6 Central Division titles, 6 Eastern Conference final appearances, and a championship. Beautiful. Also guided the Pistons to a championship in 2004, right?
But he didn't do it through the draft.
Dumars drafted players like Mateen Cleaves in 2000. His notable trades during that tenure included the trade of Grant Hill to the Magic in 2000. Player acquisitions, he also signed free agents like Tyree Bragg and Joe Smith. Okay, DC, the floor is yours, bro. You go ahead on with it.
Okay, Mateen Cleaves, that was that's his first pick, from Michigan State. And you had Brian Cardinal, second round pick that year. Then moving to Rodney White in 2001. So I don't remember much about all of these drafts. So I don't know what was available in each and every one of them to say if it was a horrible pick or you could have just did better. But I'm telling you this, Q, I've been watching basketball for a long time. A lot of these guys, I don't know.
Okay.
Then next year in 2002, Taurean Prince, that was a great pick, out of Kentucky. He got him in the first round. Then he got Andreas Galzianiskis. I don't even know if I say his name right. 7-foot center, second round. I'm going to just do the first round picks. I ain't going to trip on the second round unless I see a name I know. Carlos Delfino, was another pick they had. That was first round pick 2003. They had 2 first round picks in 2003. So they got Carlos Delfino, and then with the infamous, second pick, they took Darko Milicic, right? 2005, they actually had 3 picks, had 2 seconds, and the first 2026 with 26 pick. I'm sorry, Jason Maxwell. You remember him? His name sounds familiar, so he might have been solid. Then in 2007 they took Aaron Aflalo. That's not a bad pick. Aaron Aflalo was pretty good, and Rodney Stuckey. I remember him supposed to be in some type of defensive juggernaut guy, and he just never panned out nowhere he went. But he did come in highly touted, and I guess I understand why they probably picked him. So I will say that, even though 15 for all defensive guy, but it was 2007, different time. 2008, DJ White. Stop me at any point if I wow you, Q. 2009, Austin Day. 2010, Greg Monroe. Solid pick, But Greg Monroe was pick 7, bro. So for him to, I don't really think he turned into anywhere what he should have been, being picked at number 7. We know Greg Monroe. He's from here. He was right over there at West Jeff. No,
Greg Monroe was Helen Cox.
Yeah, Helen Cox.
Yeah.
And awesome potential, man. He never fully lived up to it. And he wound up still being in the city. He's actually our big man coach right now.
That's right.
So not a horrible pick, but I think not good at number 1. Brandon Knight. This is an 8 pick. Brandon Knight, again, wasn't a bad player. He was solid, the quality starter, but didn't live up to what we thought he could turn into. I remember Brandon Knight. Now, I will give him this. Guess who Joe Dumars did draft? Now, this is an interesting pick, but for some goddamn reason, I always remember him playing on the Milwaukee Bucks. Joe Dumars drafted Chris Middleton in the 2nd round with 39th pick.
All right, that's one.
But he didn't keep him. So
maybe he didn't. He wasn't what he was in Boston. DC, he started working on his game in Milwaukee, huh? That could have been a thing. He might have been a different type of player then, bro.
The Pistons ain't reaping none of the benefits. Andre Drummond was drafted in the 1st round with the 9th pick. I can't knock that. I can't knock that at all. Kentavious Caldwell Pope. So he's responsible for picking him. He was the 8th pick, He did draft Spencer Dinwiddie. So he's starting to look good towards the end here. Starting getting a little better, right? And that's pretty much, I think that's the last pick of his tenure, man. And actually, I was getting what your boy name was, Stuckey? Rodney Stuckey. I was getting him confused with Stanley Johnson. That was Van Gundy's pick. And goddamn, Q, they picks were Van Gundy's picks were bad, man.
All right, DC. So let's just put
the
all this.
The best player Van Gundy drafted was the dude who on our team. You know that, Q?
He drafted what?
Bruce Browns Jr. That was the best draft pick Van Gundy drafted.
Damn.
2nd round, 42nd pick. That's a good pick to get Bruce Brown Jr. right there. Van Gundy was bad, man. Goddamn. He made Joe Dumars look like a superstar drafter.
All right, DC. So you put all that in preference. So break it down for the people what you're saying about a potential Joe Dumars hiring as a.
Not good at drafting, man. Mediocre. Mediocre to it looks like he got okay. And that's right.
That don't sound good to me at all.
He got Chris Middleton and traded him.
I listen.
Not good.
Good for us, man. But good for us though, DC, that we don't have to really. I mean, most of the team is already assembled in terms of our draft, what we need in terms of talent.
I'll say Rodney was good for 2 to 3 years. Okay.
You just need a guy for Joe Dumars or whoever it's going to be. We're not saying it's going to be Joe. I mean, there was a report that's saying that the Pelicans was talking to him, but there could be other guys involved in the process.
And I forgot Chris Bosh was there too. Q, look at this. Jackson Carter. Yeah, Chris Bosh in the mix too. They took Darko over Melo and Chris Bosh, bro. Even the little 9-8 years Chris Bosh played still was 10 to 30 times better
That's an
Then
excuse.
Darko, bro.
There was a quote out there while I was doing research on looking for what, because I knew at some point Joe Dumars had to address the Darko Milicic draft pick, and I just played it for you guys. But there was also some information while I was doing that research that popped up, was the fact that it talked about his thought process on him. I mean, he considered him to be what he thought he was going to be the next Nowitzki. He thought
Dumas' thoughts on Nowitzki?
He thought he was going to be like a Nowitzki, like a Dirk Nowitzki. He thought he was going to be like
if it was a fifth, woulda, coulda, shoulda.
That's what he
thought.
That's what he thought. That's what
I don't care. It didn't pan out.
No, well,
and you would get some credit if it panned out somewhere else. It didn't pan out anywhere. After Darko, did Darko even get another shot?
That was like Bennett, DC from Cleveland.
Man, that's the worst. That is the worst pick in NBA history. Q. You had the chance. Who was worse?
Bennett. Wasn't Anthony Bennett worse than that? Y'all tell us in the chat. Who y'all?
No, because look at that draft. I don't think it was worse than that because you didn't have a chance to get a generational player. Anthony Bennett was a horrible draft pick. It was a bad draft pick, but look at the other people in that draft. They didn't have no transcendent players come out of that draft. You had a chance to get a Hall of Famer and almost Hall of Famer. And you missed on both of those guys for a dude who turned into nothing.
I hate
the worst pick in NBA history, Q.
Okay, all right.
But I'm not saying all that
Jackson says that Darko was the worst. Okay, thank you.
Right. That's the only area where Joe Dumars is bad, though. That's it. Everything else he's good at. So I'm just pointing out.
So what else is he good at? Let's hear what he's good at, because I know you nailed the draft. You nailed it. You put some evidence and proof up there. That you nailed that. Now, if
I should put the stuff up on the screen to show everybody, but he's excellent at building a culture. Obviously, he's excellent at being GM, vice president, in a small, we call it a small basketball town. I don't know why I can't remember the damn word now. They always call us the little teams in the NBA, right? Small market team. There you go. He knows how to win a championship with those limitations, right? He has championship caliber. He was an excellent Hall of Fame level player. The man guarded Michael Jordan, for crying out loud. I mean, he did help. He had help, but they wouldn't have won a championship without Joe Dumars. Like, he did his part. Like, when a player sees somebody like Joe Dumars and he telling them something and they go look into what he did, I think he'll garner a lot more respect than a David Griffin or some of these other guys from a basketball to basketball standpoint. So he's a hometown guy. So he really wants to win. He ain't coming here to just get a check. How you come to your hometown, just collect money and don't give a shit? Like, man, your family gonna be talking about you at the cookout and everything. Like, you ain't gonna be able to sleep right. People, you free from here. So he's going to put that culture in the city. He's a respectable guy, class act, intelligent. He can handle, to me, all the other issues we got. He's pulled off some solid trades. I think he's good in that regard of being able to do that. It's just the drafting, bro, and the innovation. He hasn't been in the league in a while. He ain't been in a front office position, and it's been like 10 years. It's almost like similar to the Stan Van Gundy thing. You get somebody who just out of practice for a while, man. He gonna be rusty. He gonna make some mistakes due to that.
Well, this is also, DC, other good options too to consider for that VP job, man. And shout out to Lex. You did drop the question about Bob Myers. I mean, Bob Myers he doesn't have a job right now. Bob Myers is not doing anything. He's on ESPN as an analyst right now. Bob Myers would be a good choice.
Bob Myers getting paid to advise people. He advising NBA teams. He was so good at his NFL
teams.
NFL teams. That's right. So Of course, that definitely wouldn't be a bad look. But does Bob Myers even want to be a GM? Sometimes when you have guys and they're so good at what they do, or they had an insane amount of success, like what's the coach from the Dallas Cowboys, man? They won them championships.
Jerry Jones. I mean, Jimmy Johnson.
Jimmy Johnson won them championships, and that shit went left like how I did with Jerry Jones, which was retarded. Jerry thought he could do what Jimmy was doing, which was insane. He never really worried about coaching anymore.
Yeah, but
some people like that, man. They have immense success and they step away and they ain't really worry about doing it anymore. They feel they've conquered it and mastered it and they've achieved everything they can get out of it. Is that Bob Myers? Because why is he gonna come to us? And he's been on the market for a while. They had a bunch of teams needed GMs and stuff. Like why the Pelicans? Why he ain't never went nowhere else and got another job? My guess is I don't think that's what he want to do. Because I'm sure a team would have hired him.
I don't know. I don't know what's been going on with him in terms of that, DC. All I know is if you need a VP of
after Miami, Jackson, I'm talking about after Miami.
If you have a Bob Myers there, I mean, he's worth a conversation. I mean, you need a VP. This is a first time in 6 years you had an opportunity to do this and you want to do it right. Why not reach to Bob Myers? Talk to him to see if he's interested. I mean, you don't just pencil in the one guy. I know Joe Dumars is interested in the job, but you also, why don't you have the opportunity? Go talk to other people. Bob Myers has an impressive resume. It's on screen, as you can see it right here. I mean, what he did here, the Golden State Warriors stuff, was off the chain. Former basketball exec known for 11 seasons as GM and president of basketball operations from Golden State, led the team to 4 NBA championships, was twice named the NBA Executive of the Year. Before joining the Warriors, he was a sports agent, including working under all these different people, and he currently works as an analyst for ESPN and ABC. He also serves as a regent for the University of California. So the man is kind of spread thin, but if an NBA team calls him and says, listen, we want you to come here, and then you look at the Pelicans. They're not a asteroid crater. This team is actually a pretty well put together team. They just need leadership and guidance and the right coach at the right position to make them serious. So he's definitely capable of getting the right people here to making it work. So I mean, a guy like this as intelligent as Bob Myers can really help you kind of terraform the Pelicans upper management and get them right and get the team's mindset where it's supposed to be and make them more competitive. I think he can do that with all that championship acumen. Now, he did work with Willie Green. Was Willie Green be the guy that he keeps? I don't know. That'll be up to him to decide that. But these are just a few options to kind of throw out there who could be available if Joe Dumars are indications of people they talking to Joe Dumars. But it's still something to kind of think about. So I don't know. You make a good point about whether Bob Myers and where he's, why isn't he a VP or something like that in the league? That's an interesting point, bro.
He said, go get Rich Paul as president of basketball operations. What you talking about, Jackson? Rich Paul? Come on, man.
Nah, bro.
I mean, that's a conflict of interest. All them damn people he got under his agency. I don't know if they let that happen.
All right. Yeah. Well, one live Stu says, remember the Pistons picked late. So, yeah. There you go. Thank you.
Remember the Pistons picked late?
That's what he said.
What do you mean? What do you mean by that?
He's saying they selected late in the draft. Put it in there, live Stu. Kind of elaborate on your thought.
Late in what? Like what are you talking about?
Yeah, hold on, DC. Just give the man.
He's saying they pick late in every draft because they had a lot of 8 picks and stuff. I was looking at them.
Okay, let them drop it all in there, man. But yeah, we'll see.
Some of the 29 picks and stuff. I see what he's getting at 26. 2020, 2005, not 2025.
Bird Talk says going to have to pay more than what he's getting now, huh? I mean, they got it, bro. Gail is the second richest person in the state. She got the bread. You fire David Griffin, you got to be able to bring a guy in here and level this team up. And that's the thing. The team needs guidance. We don't have guidance here. The team is struggling right now. They're a pushover, and that's something that we got to change. So, who else, DC, do you see as who you would consider as a person that's of interest to the Pelicans outside of Joe Dumars or potentially a Bob Myers?
I'm gonna go back to and piggyback off a lot of what you guys were talking about, mainly you and Lex, and listening to y'all speak on that, because I never contemplated us getting a GM at least this year. I'm happy David Griffin is fired, but I wasn't doing as much research on that because I didn't think it was possible. So, but what I did like is what y'all broke down to me, just the idea of going to winning franchises and looking at impactful people within their building and interviewing those franchises, like your OKCs, your Bostons. The Lakers, I can't say the Lakers because we know why. The Lakers are the league's team, so a lot of their success just stems from them having an unfair advantage, I guess, due to playing in LA with whatever it is, why they want to send everybody there. But I'm sure even the Lakers may have somebody in their work looking at. But you look at teams like Miami, especially the smaller market teams, you would kind of look at people who have been influential in their sustainable success, right? So OKC, I think, is a great place to start. Whoever is the guy that is directly being trained under Presti, I would definitely want to have him in and talk to him, and because it's just so many things that they're going to be up on ways they want to do stuff from the system or ecosystem that they've created there in OKC that would benefit us. I mean, they're running laps around everybody with what they're doing. Boston is a great place, like y'all talked about there. Miami is another great spot. Looking at those type of organizations, man, I'm trying to think of somebody else who's really been on top of things. I mean, what about Denver's GM that they just let go? What's his name? I think you could have had worse people. Because a lot of stuff I would hear about Denver and player retention, a lot of times they would always talk about their front office. Calvin Booth. How do we feel about Calvin Booth? Won a championship, So I would look more to places like this where they have had success and they've sustained success for at least 5 to 6 years of consistently making to the playoffs, and look at people who are in that building that actually made an impact, not people who just riding the wave off the names of the other people in the building making impacts, but influential people in those systems, and be trying to sit down and interview with them.
Yeah, we got one dude on the screen. This is up under Sam Presti, Jesse Gould, Vice President of Basketball Operations, began his first season as the VP, his assistant VP there. 16th season with the organization. Served as the Vice President of Strategy and Analysis for 4 seasons. Previous the Director of Pro Evaluations, oversee the club's pro scouting efforts, having direct responsibility for the G League affiliate, where he was responsible for roster construction and management of the Blue. In 4 years at the helm, the Blue amassed the second best record in the G League, 116-76, and advanced to the playoffs for 3 straight years, while also being the only G League team to clinch 3 division titles during that time. He joined the Thunder organization as a basketball operation assistant in 2009, and his first season was named the basketball information coordinator. In 2014, he was promoted to the director of basketball research and analysis before being named director of pro evaluation. Native of Philly. So there you go. That's a few of these guys. Rob Hennigan is another dude that's also one of their vice presidents. 5th season with the team, worked as the general manager for the Magic for 5 seasons before returning to OKC in 2017 to serve as the vice president of insight and foresight. That's an interesting thing. He works closely with key functions within the organization, including player personnel, strategic planning, and data science and solutions and information management of council. Previously worked in the Thunder front office from 2008 to 12 as the team's assistant general manager, player personnel, helped lead a turnaround that saw OKC go from 23 wins in 08-09 to a spot in the NBA Finals in 2012. Prior to joining the Thunder, Hennigan spent 4 years with the Spurs. Ding, 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 ding. Where he
There
began
you go. There you go, Q. I like it already.
There you go. He got 2 ties to 2 really good organizations. He tied to the
And
Spurs.
they were winning when he were there too.
Yes, that's right. This guy could be the guy. Rob Hennigan. So there you go. These are some just throwing out names here, fam. Just doing a little.
And family, you're definitely right about Calvin Booth. He was in our scouting department in 2012 and 2013.
Amazing.
So yeah.
And Calvin Booth overseeing the never mind.
He was responsible. Sounds like he was part of us drafting AD, because that's the AD draft. I don't know how. I don't think he had any. It wasn't him that drafted Joker though.
He climbed up there. This
was there before he got
man.
there.
At the end of the day, man, he got put in the street. So and like you've seen stuff happen with Denver and happen with Grizzlies. I knew it was a matter of time before we get at least one of these guys out of here. I thought it would be Willie Green, but Calvin Booth out, man, with Denver. This is another situation. Like, I don't know if you would reach to him. So that's the question that the new VP would do. Do you keep the current general manager? Do you bring your own guy in? Because sometimes people like to bring their own guys in here. You know,
I think you have to, man. If it's live or die on me, I'm going out on my shield, man. I'm gonna do it my way. How else can you ensure success and take all of the accountability of failure if you didn't do everything possible that you thought needed to be done? Now, if one of those guys line up, well, fine. But if they don't, man, I ain't trying to keep them people for the sake of the team wanting to be cheap or whatever. You can't do that. That's what constantly puts us in the situation we're in. Even though Willie Green is a horrible coach, man, but who hires a coach and then tell him he got to take on people from the old staff? Who does that shit?
David Griffin, but who?
And then you mad when they're not successful?
Yeah, but DC, the thing is, who accepts that type of that? It's not about who's offering it. Who accepts it?
He's a do boy, but the
company man,
do boy, yeah. But the way that they put it out there is still like, no matter who would accept the Q, that was going to be a failing situation.
But
minus some type of miracle.
Yeah, but nobody takes that. Is my point, bro. Nobody takes that job. You're not gonna, because you're gonna get fired. The chances are you taking on people who you don't know who they are, or and you taking on a fired coach's staff, and you don't know you haven't worked with these people. Only a chump and a moron or a desperate person will do that, and that's what Willie Green is. He took all that on. He wasn't gonna get no head coaching job nowhere else. And if Phoenix think that he's could do something with them out there, well, come and get him. Come and get him and get your head bust and find out what we know about him. Willie's a nice dude. Nice don't translate to success on the court, man. Obviously, because the guy doesn't fight for his players. He doesn't. He gets fake mad at times when you get blown off of 40-something odd points. He stands up there and gives the other team credit and is proud of his players that get blown up off. I mean, it doesn't make any sense, man. Who needs that kind of crap here? Well, that's not winning basketball. So if Phoenix, y'all want to come and get this guy. We had 4 years of him, and I'm telling you, you fire Coach Budenholzer and pick up Willie Green, boy, y'all some bitches on a pathway to nowhere if you think that that's a good move. I'm just going to be honest. Y'all don't know what y'all talking about. If you fire Coach Bud, who won a championship several years ago, and pick up on Willie Green like he going to take you to the promised land, you out your goddamn mind. You out of your mind.
Let them do it, Q.
Let them have them, bro. Come and get them, man.
I would love it. They play on the West, don't they?
Let them have them, bro.
Don't they play on the West?
We're gonna beat you. We're gonna beat your teeth in every time we play you. I promise you that. All we have to do, because he gonna establish a soft ass team. He's gonna put all that weak ass rhetoric everywhere, and it's gonna be a pathway to nowhere, man. You're not going nowhere with that guy. The guy he's not ready for that. He's not ready to be at.
What's up, Lex? What's happening with you?
We don't
need good human beings. We need some bad human beings. That's what I'm talking about. Bad to the bone.
We need some smart human beings and tough human beings. That's what we need. Good human beings.
We need some bad people, man.
See how
we ain't
good
gotta
I-
say human. We ain't gotta say human beings no more. We got the alien out the building.
Well, let me ask you this. What
Roger
is,
from American Dad is gone. So
well, let me ask you this. If you had this is the question for you. Does David Griffin consider himself a good human being?
No, he's an alien.
I'm saying
That's why he was obsessed with good human beings. He's clearly an alien.
what planet is
What,
this?
what normal person goes around talking about people being good human beings? Even the
All the
terminology
time.
is weird. He's
All
alien.
the
He's clearly an alien.
All the time he said that. All the time.
This is a mask. We don't know what he really looked like under there. Dude might be a reptilian or some shit.
He's a reptilian, brother.
He's something, bro. Like, man, I ain't never met nobody in all my years of life that talks about good human beings. And then
That dude
it's not
said
the
that
fact that he said it once; he says it all the time. It's like you call it. You say it all the time, a Freudian slip, right?
Yes.
So you got two things. Well, we know he's not a good human being, so that's one reason why he's Freudian slipping. And the other one is he's clearly not human. He's subhuman or some shit. Something going on now. I don't. You hear any other GM talk like that, Q?
No, I do not,
Good
bro.
human beings, not good people, or this is a good person. Good human beings. Do you have to keep specifically categorizing what they are?
No, I mean I've never encountered somebody that likes to over accentuate the fact that good human being. But the thing is, that didn't work here, and
It's like a zookeeper being at the zoo and be like, "Oh, that's a good Asian elephant. Oh, I have a really good Siberian tiger in this exhibit." Just constantly, and he talks to the tiger like that daily. Hey, Siberian tiger, you hungry, man? The hell is this shit, bro? Good human beings? Come on, man.
Yeah, he was a I would say more. He's more.
He's clearly. He's clearly.
I don't think the man is an alien, bro. I think he's more of a robotoid than anything. But outside of that,
pretty much an alien. He was built in the lab way somewhere underground or some shit.
Oh, they wasted their money then. Fuck would you build him for?
He not like us is all that matters. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
He's not.
But anyway, let me ask this to the family members out there, man. First of all, thoughts on David Griffin getting canned. Second of all, thoughts on who should be the man. Y'all have any ideas? We covered a few people. We've already thrown them up there.
The family wanted you to pull up Boston's staff tree. They wanted to see who their VP was.
I've been trying to look into their stuff. For whatever reason, I can't find the area of their website that shows me their in their corporate side. I've been on their website while we've been talking, and for whatever reason the link is not there. I see the roster, I see the coaching staff. When it gets down to the exec aspect of it, that link is not available. I've tried to find it. I've tried to pull it up. So that's why I hadn't put it on screen yet. So if anybody wants to fill in some of the names from some of these people, just look for the top assistant VP name underneath. I think it's Brad. What's the man name up there, DC? Brad, what's his name? Brad Stevenson. Brad Stevenson's assistant. That's who you want to pull up because I think he's the VP of the Celtics. I think it is. But I think I got one dude. His name is Mike Zarin. Is a candidate. It's no resume available for him. Assistant Celtics assistant GM Mike Zarin is the top candidate for Philadelphia GM job. Of course, this guy looking for a VP job. But I've been trying to pull his resume up so I can have some information on him because he appears to be the top assistant underneath him. So I don't know. Y'all, if y'all know anything about that, just feel free to throw it in the chat and I'll highlight it. But I've been looking for his resume and haven't been able to find anything. I can't even find it. It's not on their site, man. I don't know they was like, you know what they did? They took that shit in. Them people looking at us, man. We don't want to lose none of our people. They pull all that shit off of that because that most certainly I pulled it up on the show before that piece, that link that takes you to the executives is not on their website. Just to let y'all people know that. And so that's crazy work. All right. Anyway, yeah, Black Monday in effect. What's up, OG?
We saw Fletcher Macko actually dropped another tweet saying he spoke with David Griffin.
I had that on screen while you was talking.
Okay.
Yeah, I put that on the screen.
David Griffin said he will forever be indebted to New Orleans, and there will always be a special place in his heart. Not because the people are great, but because this is where he had his first child. It's clearly an alien, Q.
How old is this guy? How old is this dude?
He's 55 and he just had his first child.
Wow. How old is the woman?
I don't know. I'm just making up 55. He might be older than that.
Wow.
I have no idea how old he is.
That's amazing. How old is his wife? She got to be young, man. He just at 55, he just had a child?
She definitely a good wife because all the bullshit he kicked on, I don't know how we don't know who she is. She stay in the background, bro.
And they got a name on there. That's crazy. I didn't know that was his first child. I thought he had children. Well, then again, yeah, whatever. Don't matter. We don't care. All right, but anyway, man, like I said, let me see some stuff. I got some on Mike Zarin. This is the one of the top dudes from Boston, DC. They said he has a long history with the Celtics, starting as an unpaid intern. He is the leader in that advanced statistical analysis and also responsible for strategic planning, player personnel evaluation, salary cap management, and in-house counsel for basketball issues. That's Mike Zarin. He was seen as a guy that was supposed to climb up the chain. He was also looked at as a guy that potentially could be in line for something the Philadelphia 76ers had going on. So, I don't know. So there's just a few names here, but to see if they go. But the Pelicans would be wise at this time to do a thorough search and talk to everybody, including Rob Hennigan. A lot of people like Rob Hennigan, who is the vice president of basketball operations, the assistant underneath Sam Presti, who has ties to San Antonio and OKC. So, yeah, he also was a general manager before, too. They said for 5 seasons with the Orlando Magic DC. So we might have to look that up, bro. The 5 seasons when Hennigan, how did he do as a general manager for the?
What's his last name?
Hennigan.
Oh, Hennigan. What's his first name?
Rob Hennigan. So we got to do some research. How did he, for my Orlando people? How did he do in just doing a little research on some of these guys? Something that the Pelicans are supposed to be doing because we're pushing to get David Griffin out of here. We also gave some ideas. Obviously, I don't think it was just them doing it. I think the whole family base, the support base, said enough is enough. We got they pressing to go up on these prices on these tickets for the Saints and Pelicans. Both these teams suck. They stink. They're garbage. And they're going up on the prices. People are putting their foot down. The Saints are showing, the Pelicans are showing very immature behavior. They're showing real stupid ass behavior. You don't raise the prices on the team, and the team just won 21 games. No, you don't do that. You something wrong here, and you can't say injuries because you've been saying injuries for 5+ years. So at some point, that's going to wear thin with the people that's giving you the money because they don't want to hear you talk about injuries all day when you got money to fix it.
Nah, Hennigan, he don't look like he was all that great.
Okay,
he left from OKC. He was over there for 4 years working for OKC before taking the GM position in Orlando 2012, and he held that until 2017. In his 5 years as a GM, he posted a 132-278 record. The worst 5 year stretch in team history.
So he ended up going back to OKC for some more seasoning. So he ended up going back. But yeah, this is a guy here. It's one of the people you could talk to. Another guy here is Jesse Gould, who's also there. Now he's listed above Rob Hennigan in the pecking order on their website, which means I guess he is a guy there as well. He could be another guy. He had his good efforts in terms of heading the G League franchise for them, and they had a lot of outstanding victories there and a lot of success there. Is Jesse Gould ready to take the step to the Pelicans, or do you go with more of an accomplished man and like Bob Myers? DC, Bob Myers ain't doing nothing right now. You don't think Bob Myers would be impressed to work with Zion Williamson in New Orleans?
I don't know because I don't know what makes Bob Myers tick, man. Because the fact
Obviously,
that
money makes Bob tick.
he went with over there with Golden State.
Money makes him tick, DC.
And he won all them championships, man. And he ain't take no more GMs, VP jobs or nothing. I don't know, man. I don't know if his heart is even in it because there's no reason why he can't be, collecting another check in the NBA.
He might have seen. He might not seen.
He might not want to.
He might not. He might.
I mean, you've had a lot of opportunities since he stepped down. Q. I mean, Bob Myers been gone since what? Maybe like 2018, something like that. 19.
No.
When did he leave?
Like 22.
22.
Yeah.
Okay.
Had to be like 22 because that was the year they won the championship in 22.
I don't know if he was still there the 22 year for that championship.
Yeah, he was there. It's on his resume. Yeah,
so he was still there for their last championship too?
That's what it says. His resume said that he was there for 4 championships. 4 championships mean 2015, 2017, 2018, and 2022. So he was there.
Damn, boy, Bob Myers, he was a winning little son of a gun. Huh? He played for UCLA and won a championship with them too.
He helped the Commanders with their little stuff that was going on.
He's a winner, bro.
He's a winner. So that's what I'm saying. Bob Myers would be a guy.
That would be a culture shock to the Pelicans front, boy. He's going to come in there talking crazy. You want to win or not? What is this? What you? You
want to win or not?
You know the people who win, they're going to be in there. He's going to be like, okay, well, we need to do this. And, well, Bob, we don't know. You want to win or not?
What the hell I'm telling you to do? God damn it.
This is how you win. Have you won anything? When they get fed up, he's going to turn into that guy.
That's right.
Bob going to be all nice and stuff, trying to break it down to him. They would get him pushed back on simple shit he no need to be done. Bob will flip out on him. You want to win or not? I didn't come here to be a goddamn paid loser. Bob will flip out on there.
Yeah, DC came in. He said, "I ain't come here to be your goddamn friend. I'm here to win." That's what I'm talking about.
Right.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what we.
And I ain't gotta know him. I ain't gotta know him to hear him say that because that's how all winners are.
Right. He'll come in the building.
Anything less than winning is unacceptable.
All right. Jan says y'all been telling these people for the longest time. That's why we tune in to PPR. Thank you, brother.
Thank you very much. Picking me up, bringing me back to this world.
Appreciate that.
I had all type of stuff to do today, Jan. And, I had to put some things back, man, because how long it took us 6 months, to realize we didn't need 6 years of this shit. It might not even been 6 months. What was it, like 3 months in?
I know.
We knew we were told. We were like, man, the Pelicans ain't gonna never win nothing significant as long as this dude there. That boy came out and said, I'm giving Drew Holiday permission to dominate. Nigga, what?
Such a weirdo, bro. Such a weirdo.
Drew Holiday is a dark horse MVP. Man, if I could show you, we pull up some of these goddamn interviews when they was asking Drew Holiday about what he said. The look on Drew Holiday's face, that's when I knew. I said, man, Drew don't want to be here. Drew gonna ask for a trade.
God help us.
Drew Holiday was like, what is this dude talking about? We about to get Zion Williamson, a transcendent talent. I was all for, helping the big fella grow into being a super. What is he talking about? I'm the MVP, permission to down. What the hell is this dude talking about? Drew Holiday had been in the league for what, 6-7 years at that point? Drew Holiday knows who he is. He knows you're not a top 5 player in the league. That guy. I told you that guy crazy, man. Bro. Crazy.
I told you that man was crap. I've been telling you this, man.
A word statement.
And the thing is, we diagnosed his character. He a control freak, and when you got a control freak over your organization, like what David Griffin was, he suffocates all of the talent. That's how. In the Trajan Langdon, we documented Trajan Langdon for years. How Trajan Langdon was trying to get out of the Pelicans organization for 3 years straight before he landed the Detroit job. He was putting in for all of that. He was trying to go to Washington. Washington's a dumpster fire, but he was better than the Pelicans in his mindset. He was trying to
go over there and be free. He can turn it around because he had good ideas and ways to impact the franchise. And all the mind talk you did with Trajan, well, we always will point out how Trajan is a competent GM, and you're looking at the drafts, and you can tell which ones was kind of Trajan influenced versus David Griffin. You could look at them and tell.
Yeah,
there's a night and day difference from the type of players that either was going after.
Yeah, he was crazy. The man was sick, man. The man was sick. Like I said, he will hire people that he can manipulate and control, and that's the thing. He wanted the credit for turning the team around and being winning, doing that, and that's not who you need. So you suffocate the talent, then you bitch them out by making them all soft and talk about all this soft rhetoric and all this other stuff. Bring Willie Green in there, and everything about Willie Green running around his non-aggressive verbiage, all this type of stuff, and it just doesn't make any sense. So I mean, yeah, I just think, first of all, I applaud the mighty Pelican Nation, the Pel Nation. I get y'all to come up and right here because that's who really did this.
But hey, Lex, that statement he made with Drew Holiday was horrible and was a fireable offense. But he didn't stop there. Y'all got to remember the statement that he made several missteps, and we knew it was over. Q. I just want to mention this one.
Okay, I know where you're going.
This one is important.
Go ahead. I know you always say
David Griffin got his ass behind the podium and said this shit from the mountaintops, from whoever would listen.
Okay.
That he won a championship with the Cleveland Cavaliers. Wait. That's not it.
What?
That's not it.
Not the cap.
Oh, man.
That's not it, Q. Along with that, so he won a championship, right?
Yes.
And he said, along that process and winning the championship with the Cleveland Cavaliers, they won, but he was miserable.
That's crazy talk.
What?
That is completely psychotic.
Hey, wait. That right there is enough to raise an eyebrow, right? But he didn't stop there. He proceeded to say,
this is DC favorite one right here,
that he would like to win, but he believes it can be done in a way where it's more enjoyable.
What? Bro, what are you talking about?
That is
completely psychotic.
If you don't get your not worrying about the results ass out of here, that is the same thing as Mickey Loomis saying, look beyond the results. That's the same shit, Q.
Yes.
It's a loser mentality.
Don't forget your all-time favorite one of that Zion is the supercharged Draymond Green. That's also a favorite. That's all.
That Zion, we see him as a supercharged Draymond Green. Man, well, where's Herm Edwards when you need him, Q? Somebody should have paid Herm Edwards to walk up there and slap the shit out of David Griffin and say, you played to win the game. Because that is the point. Like, you won. Like, you can't. It's almost like saying you want to be a millionaire, right? But I don't want to do all the necessary things I saw all the other people who became a millionaire do. I want to be a millionaire with my head in the clouds and not look at any of the details. I'm like, what? Do you want to be a millionaire or not? That's why we need Bob Myers up. You want to win or not? Bob Myers up here, man. Because it's like, how are you going to pick how you want to win the championship? You know how hard it is to win the championship? So you want to win the championship, but you want to win the championship the way you want to win the championship. Well, you know what that means, Q? You ain't going to never win no goddamn championship.
Well, you're right, bro. And the thing behind that was quite simple. He said in an interview that he didn't enjoy that championship. And that's because he wasn't in control. It was LeBron James who was telling him what to do. And Dan Gilbert told him he has to do it. And next thing you know, they won, but he takes credit for the championship, but he's did admit that he was just a do boy for LeBron. LeBron was the one telling him to do all of that. So, I mean, you can't get away from that, man. And as you can see, it didn't work. Whatever he thought he was trying to do here, it didn't work. And one of the more egregious things that he did was all of this bullshit talking that he did that just incensed us here. We did not want to hear all that foolishness.
Horrible word salad filled with iceberg lettuce. You just said a whole bunch of nothing.
Nothing. Absolutely nothing,
Well,
man.
hold up, man. Look, what's going on, Big Sean? Y'all just hope they don't hire a yes man to replace him. Well, let me tell you something, Big Sean. It would be funny. You could do all that, but what do you mean, yes man? The people ahead of David Griffin weren't giving no orders. What are you talking about?
I'm serious.
Dennis Lauscher don't know shit.
Dennis Lauscher
Dale Benson don't know shit. That's why this position, I think, is a great position for somebody who truly wants to come in and take over their own thing, without being a micromanager. Because nobody's gonna get in your way or anything. The only pushback you're gonna get with the Pelicans is when you start spending too much money. They're gonna bring Mickey Loomis in there. What Mickey gonna tell them? Because Dennis and Gail ain't gonna say nothing. They're gonna bring Mickey Loomis in there to talk to him. What are you gonna tell them, Q?
Well, look beyond the results. Hold on now.
No. What's your favorite word? You say, well, hold on there now.
Hold on now.
That's the first thing you're gonna say.
Hold on, guy. Hold on. Hold on now. We're gonna do this. Hold on. Look beyond the results. Fly beyond the results. How about that if you're Pelican? Fly behind it and fly beyond the results. You got wings. Hold on now.
Gotta look at this thing.
You gotta look at it closely, and then take 20 years before we do anything. Hold on. Yeah, man, it's crazy, man.
Yes, man. There ain't nobody giving orders. We need somebody to come in and lay the whole foundation. Yes, man, will be in trouble over here because you actually got to make the decisions yourself.
I think this is the time they'll take to get this right. They have to get this right, and this is the part of it, which I applaud the fact that we're finally here and we're in a position where we can get the right guy. We talked about Bob Myers. We talked about Joe Dumars. We went over some other people from OKC. We talked about a guy or two from the Boston Celtics. It is not hard. It's not difficult for people to see that. So, I mean, at the same time, we'll see how it goes, man. But before we get ready to leave, DC, I want you to hear your final thoughts. But this is a post from Scott Kushner. There are people at the top of the Benson organization: Dennis Lauscher, Mickey Loomis, hold on now, Greg Bensel, who should be in jail, among others, who hold tremendous sway, reap massive benefits, and can never be fired, no matter what occurs on the field or in the stands. That's what I mean. And then, of course, he was replying to somebody else. And Scott Kushner is always cooking the Pelicans. He's always telling people. And what he said there was absolutely right. He says, ultimately, Zion and Ingram drowned in Griffin's tenure. Zion was mishandled from the jump. The Pels have been playing catch up ever since, unsuccessfully trying to impact professionalism. Ingram simply wasn't the superstar Griff thought he'd be. Many mistakes stem from there. He said the Pelicans are a bottom 2 NBA franchise, and although ownership cranked up the money for Griffin compared to his prior regime, it wasn't enough to change the team's status in any significant way. Nice to see someone on their line held accountable, but it's always an outsider. So there you go. He says David Griffin tried his best to turn around the Pelicans culture in every ephemeral sense. New slogans, improved facilities, high-profile front office hires, much larger budget for staffers and operations, but he couldn't keep them healthy and never nailed a big move. So there you go, Scott Kushner, letting them know and just telling the truth, man, and making me. I seen him talking to a couple of these cats online, and these people raw in their ass. They don't want to hear the truth, and you won't bury your head in the sand. Go somewhere else. Go bury your damn head in the sand. But it's time to move this thing along, man. Change, and not everybody for change. They got people out there that's scared of change. They like shit to stay the same. Those people, just a little news flash in life, everything change, either for the better or for the worse. So you have the power to decide on which way it's going to go. If only thing stays the same, it's dead. If you die, it's dead. You dead, that's it. If that's the only thing. So outside of that, if you're alive and moving, if you handling success and doing things you're supposed to be on a constant incline. It's either inclining or declining. You choose what it's going to be. So as a supporter of the team, I applaud this move. We've been fighting for this guy to be getting out of here for some time. We recognized who he was. I was telling you, this guy doing secret contracts, doing slimy shit, not running from and not doing press conferences, not telling the truth, not holding people accountable, not fixing what needs to be fixed. We labeled all that out of here for years. Now that he's gone, it's been 6 years of flunky bullshit. Hiring Willie Green, that's the next shoe to drop. Maybe there's some reformation or some movements that need to be happening in the front office because, listen, they're not constructed right either. You just take the top dude DC off the top of the snake, the people that's underneath there that he picked, the new guy coming in, might have to move some of these people out too. You might, so I would hope for whoever the new guy is, he brings his own people and moves some of whoever these other people out that were getting in the way and was happy and sitting up here handshaking with this losing bullshit. You got to check it and go too. We tired of this. We tired of this soft rhetoric. We want a smart, aggressive team that mirrors the mentality of the region in which they play. That's what that's not too much to ask for, especially when you got the money and the resources to make it happen. DC, let's hear from you, brother, on closing thoughts.
Yeah, man, that's definitely important. And I think when you look at every champion, they always find a way to mirror the area because when you're talking about winning, man, in a highly professional league such as the NBA or NFL, you got to take every single little advantage you can get. And tapping into the energy of the people there is necessary. You don't win a championship without tapping in the way you're at. So they clearly failed at that, which is evidenced by how horrible, our home records would be at times because it wasn't a full connection like how it need to be. And then moving on to the basketball standpoint, you have a nuclear weapon in your back pocket with the Pelicans and Zion Williamson. You have a chance to have somebody come in with a fresh mind, a renewed outlook on the game, and can see what this dude can do. And you can create something around him that hasn't been done. Or if you do want to replicate something that would be similar, but still different, because the skill set is not the same as those guys, but similar to Milwaukee, or what they've done with Giannis, or Denver in some aspects, or maybe you can bind them together, or you can create something totally different. We have such a unique piece in Zion, and then when you add Trey Murphy to that, he's a unique piece as well. You got a 6'10" guy that can shoot the damn lid off the rim, drive, got better with handling, dunk on your head, and get to the free throw line and shoot 90%. Like, we got some good pieces, that a competent basketball mind can come in and build a lot around that. Maybe the fact that this happening, we might, because you know how it goes when a new person comes in. We ain't even talking about Willie because we already know what's gonna happen. If they make the right hire, Willie is fired immediately. But the ugly side of it that we might not like too much, there might be a player or two that they might move out that maybe we didn't want to go. CJ McCullough is obviously up there, but it might be somebody else. Maybe they decide to move on from a Herb or whatever because you can recoup whatever picks for him or whatever. It may be a process. The Pels may not be in playoff contention next year. Maybe the GM comes in and is like, okay, we need one more year with a solid pick. And Zion plays all year. We're competitive, and we kind of do like what we saw the Houston Rockets do last year. Well, yeah, we like right at that 10th seed. We won 30-something games, not 40 or 50 where you're in the playoffs. We're rebuilding. And they've got a competent piece in whatever rookie they got, and they're actually playing a meaningful minutes at the detriment of winning. Usually what top flight organizations do when you get somebody high, even if they haven't figured it out, they go to the season, they just let them guys figure it out. Opposite of what Willie would do when we have rookies with promise. So you have a chance to kind of reset things. You have a chance to reinvent yourself. You have a chance to start over with your relationship with Zion and get things in their proper perspective, because I'm not on the train of trade him, and I don't think the new GM who's coming in, I don't see the mindset of Trey Zion. Unless we don't want to pay him no more money, it's that type of thing. But if we want to win, I don't see the mindset in getting rid of Zion. No, you figure out the injury concerns, the injury issues with Zion. They already started tracking his minutes, monitoring, I guess, his stamina spikes and whatever. Like, 28 minutes, maybe that's a little too low, but maybe they should put him on some type of minutes restriction in the 30s to ensure he doesn't get hurt until we're fully sure that his body can take all of the power and force that he generates. Because him capping the injury issues and putting that to bed, that's all it takes for this franchise to really be successful. Now, for us to be top flight, you have to build the right team around Zion. Where have you heard that shit before? Everybody's only been saying that for like the last 6 years. And David Griffin failed miserably at being able to do that. So, moving forward, if the Pels get a front office, vice president of basketball operations, and GM that check at least some of these boxes, I think we will be in good shape moving forward, and we can kind of reset the timeline on the Pels being able to actually become a contender. But if you get a great vice president of basketball operations, GM or /GM, whatever the titles will be, or if they're going to get two people, the Pels can possibly see themselves in contention next year. It would take getting a lot of moves right, probably making a swing at a big trade guy, moving off the CJ contract, doing some stuff. But they can be contenders as soon as next year. If you get a really good, competent front office system or a guy in there to build the right system. Because the other thing we don't think about, what if the new vice president of basketball operation wants to clean house with everybody? Swing gone, Bryce gone. They want to get rid of all of those people and start fresh. So it's a lot that could be going on. Knowing the Pels, I don't think they're gonna let that happen. Miss Benson clutching her purse right now. She's still paying David Griffin whatever the hell she had to pay him. Whoever's coming in, they're gonna want their money if they're actually worth it. Like, you get what you pay for. So we can't go cheap and then think things gonna change.
Yeah, I agree. I think I think at some point, like them making the steps to fire David Griffin is different than them firing Willie Green, in my estimation. They went to the top. Right. They went to.
Why you fired David Griffin? Willie Green will be fired. I see you, Knoxville. Exactly. Willie Green gone, no, Knoxville.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But they're gonna let the next person make that decision. Because he's a nice guy. Ms. Benson won't seem like the bad guy.
No, I don't know. Because this is a different behavior right here. I don't think a lot of people in even though we all knew that this was supposed to happen because the guy obviously was full of it, but for them to pull the trigger and fire David Griffin a day after, the regular season concludes was big because the Pelicans have to move at a certain rate to be able to set up themselves and get the right guy in position so they can go at some of these coaches, because you got a couple of coaches that are going to be available that could take the team to the next level. So you want to move at a good rate. Remember, we talked about this. Shout out to Lex. Shout out to you. Talked about how slow or delayed the Pelicans act. This wasn't a delayed movement. They put the axe down on this goddamn guy and got his ass out of Dodge. Willie Green is on a sinking ship to nowhere. Nobody, real people are going to bring in more accomplished people. They would not dare keep Willie Green over this team when Malone and Taylor Jenkins and other coaches will be available that are more credentialed and respected than Willie Green is in terms of basketball. So I definitely see it as a good indication that they understand the seriousness of the family base and the supporters, that we're not going to tolerate it. And I think ultimately the end result for the Pelicans is to get to winning so they can then, come back around and ask you for a new stadium. They can't get that right now. So it's a game to this. Chopping David Griffin down. They
know if they win the championship, they get that stadium.
They get their stadium. So they know if they can make the Pelicans compete, that'll justify them asking for a new building. because that's really what the aim is. They
So
can't
they
get
can make more money, and not just basketball, but all the other revenue streams they can earn from all of those concerts and everything else they can do with that building. And they want to put it on the lake, and you know that's going to generate a whole hell of a lot of money right there by the convention center, right?
Yes, indeed. I mean, it's true, man. So yeah, they got land and all that.
And you can separate the Saints from the Pelicans, like they've been wanting to do.
Well, I mean, you'll still pay for the building nonetheless. I mean, they'll still get it for rent free, but she'll put up a certain amount of money, but it'd probably be like maybe 20% or whatever it actually is. The state and other funds will then build the building, and then they'll reap the supreme rewards according to the contracts that are currently sealed with the state and the Pelicans. So this is how it goes.
Oh, come on, Hoffa, bro. Like, that's like gotta be once in a lifetime opportunity right there. Like, I don't think we ever gonna have another coach to have another grown man wipe away his tears on national television.
Yeah, we won't ever see that again, brother. We won't ever see that. Now, listen, highlight that comment from Cloudy Pat. Let's answer that one.
Cloudy Pat. Okay.
Cloudy Bat says, there any chance Willie Green's decision were micromanaged by David Griffin in some way?
Yes,
absolutely.
I would have to agree.
Willie
Griffin is horrible, but the one thing I kind of do agree with, I don't think he ever fully got what he needed to do what he wanted. Not fully. He had most of it, but Willie Green wanted a switchable center because he wants to switch everything, right?
That's right.
And they took the last year of a nothing year before they got him a switchable center, who was a rookie to add at that. So, but I think Willie's incapability to be imaginative and strategic and kind of work around that issue is what highlights why he's not a good coach, because the situations aren't always going to be perfect. But I think David Griffin gave him the majority of what he needed to be successful, other than the way that they would limit Zion and these slow-ass comebacks with the injuries, with this ramping up bullshit.
Right. Yeah, I agree. I think that is probably the biggest hindrance that this octopus guy was dealing with. But outside of the Willie Green coaching on the court was it was subpar. I mean, especially, and the thing is too, DC, you're right. He handicaps everybody. That's what this guy does. He slows down everything. He's like a saboteur. He sabotages he slowed down everything. He got his arms and he got in everybody's way. You know, he got Trajan Langdon's way. You had a really good general manager. All you had to do was stay out of his way and give him what he wanted. When he asked for it, the Pelicans would have been turned around, just like Detroit was turned around when Trajan got there. Let Trajan get his own people, build his own staff. He suffocated them because he wanted to control. He's a control freak moron. That's why he's fired today. He'll take his sorry ass back to the NBA and commentate on games. That's what he ended up doing. That's what he was doing before the Pelicans got him. So in the end, good riddance. It was a complete and utter waste of time insofar as what he promised. He overpromised and severely under-delivered and used nothing but a steady stream of ridiculous excuses that just sickened us. It sickened us, and it's just and I'm happy he's gone. I'm gonna just be honest with you, because now we can get to the business of winning. So I'm glad we're here finally, because we've been on this for a while now to get this guy out of here. So once we get a good VP there, he'll bring in some people to help him build this team. He'll bring in a coach, a respected coach, and Willie Green will be following, getting out of here too. No doubt about it. All these guys, most of these guys got to go, fam, for us to establish this, because this is some weak ass stuff right here. But anyway, DC, that's my spiel on it, man. Listen, I'd like to thank everybody, man, for tuning in for this episode of PPR emergency broadcast here. David Griffin put in the street, fired, out of here, gone, pecan. Let's get a round of applause for that, man. Thank you.
Spider-Man has followed the food of Dr. Octavius.
Talk, boy.
I'm just happy it's a done deal, man. Sick of all this garbage, man. But anyway, with that being said, man, we're going to punch out on that. Lisa, and I appreciate you guys. Please do us a service by hitting the like button. Hit sub up if you're not a sub. Join PPR. We've been in this thing for a very long time, repping the Pale Nation, keeping it real, speaking the truth, doing what we do. Sub up if you're not a sub. Also help us out by sharing the show links on social media. If you don't matter where you socialize, take PPR with you. And also check out the links in the description section below for articles and everything. You know, we got our articles on whothatdaily.com, writing for our pals and all this kind of stuff. And we just upholding the community. So with that being said, man, DC, you want to add before we go?
Nah, man, we go ahead and roll out. You know, it's a celebration. So y'all be sure to go party today, man.
Okay.
David Griffin is out of here. Willie Green is soon to be next. The Pelicans off season is looking fire. You know, so we got a tremendous amount to look forward to with the Pelicans and the Saints. So you're getting no good. David called. I saw a tweet that called him the carjacker. So they had him with a cast on his arm and a bag of money. The carjacker. So David Carr gonna be out of here. David Griffin and Willie Green was out of here. We only have one more domino to fall, and I think that's gonna be a tough cookie to crumble and Mickey Loomis. So that is the last person that we need gone, and we can go on to having a future of winning for New Orleans sports.
All right, well said. We're gonna holler at y'all on the next one, man. Much love. Go Pels. Peace.
You're listening to the Pelicans postgame report on the PRO Media Network for all things Pelicans.
Perfect. Fly Pelican, fly Pelican, fly Pelican. And I tell them that. Birds of a feather flock together. Fly down, I'm a Pelican forever. Pelican forever. Ain't gon' lie, I feel flyer than I ever been. We stay ballin', this New Orleans, I'm a Pelican. It's going down in the nest, wild, wild west. Come in town and you best show us some respect. 3-point threat, I better make it rain. If it's up, then don't jump stupid like your ankle sprain. Always said, never hate the player, hate the game. Jumpin' where the dame late, punch a train. Post game, Big Q, talking about business. Bird gang, YouTube, they ain't flocking with us. Lock up the division mission, get into the finals. Finish competition, then it's going win the title. I know this flyer than you can get. Such a threat that the refs just might call a tag. You could double, you could press, but you can't check. Right, left, slide by you like a Eurostep. Fly Pelican, fly Pelican, fly Pelican. And I tell them that birds of a feather flock together. Fly down, I'm a Pelican forever. Pelican forever. And never, and never, and never, and never, and never, and never say birds of a feather flock together. Yeah, fly down, I'm a Pelican forever. Pelican forever.
TheWhoThatDaily.com. That's right, TheWhoThatDaily.com. Your one-stop shop for everything New Orleans Saints, New Orleans Pelicans, LSU Tigers, even the top flight boxing news. So if you're a Who That and you're looking for a place to stay up on your team, TheWhoThatDaily.com is your site. TheWhoThatDaily.com. That's right, the Pro Shop is the platform store where you can go and buy all the latest merch to support the platform. Available at the Pro Shops, we have dozens of hundreds of products available for you and your family. Unisex tees for men and women, hoodies and sweatshirts, tank tops, kids and baby items, long sleeve tees, mugs, pillows, wall art, bath bedding, face masks, phone cases, stickers, bags, fanny packs, socks, hats, and many other items. Please feel free to check out the Pro Shops. The link is in the description section below. And remember, it helps the platform continue to grow. Check out the Pro Shop and Who That.